Welcome back to another episode of Biohacking with Brittany. I am so excited you're listening. This is a place where I explore cutting edge methods to enhance our health and well-being. And I am your host, Brittany Ford. Thank you for tuning in. This episode is really cool. We dive into toxicity in the baby product world. Now, there's a lot that kind of goes into this. I am joined by Sara Walma, who is the CEO of Mason Bottle. And this is a company that is all about glass baby bottles. And it is really important that we talk about this because there are so many products out there that are just filled with toxins when it comes to babies, when it comes to everybody, to be honest, but especially with babies, like from, the bottles to the soothers to the changing tables and the strollers and all of these different things. There are BPAs and phthalates and PFAs and like plastics, microplastics, kind of in everything. So we talk a lot about that on this episode and how to avoid that. It's kind of scary, like babies now are born with over 200 different man-made chemicals in their umbilical cord. That's what they're finding in their research. So babies are kind of born more toxic than ever already. We have so much plastic and chemicals everywhere. And so how can we reduce exposure? And one of the best ways to do that is to use materials that are non-toxic like glass. Glass is great. Metal, some metal is great, like steel, stainless steel. And we talk a lot about that. And it was really interesting because, if you're kind of in this baby space, that there's been a bunch of lawsuits that have come out recently about specific brands and chemicals that have been found in these products. So for example, like the Philips Advent plastic bottles claim they are BPA free, and they were third-party tested and they were found to have PFAs in them. And now there was like all this uproar and everything like that. And as there should be, those are forever chemicals. Those stay in your body and we're giving them to babies. And people are trusting brands like that thinking, oh yeah, this doesn't have this one chemical BPA in it. But lo and behold, it has a bunch of other things in it that are actually worse. BPB, BPS, things like that. And then there was also the Kirkland Costco baby wipes that people were buying that were claiming to be healthier and cleaner, that were also third-party tested and found to have these same forever chemicals in them. So they're also being sued and there's lawsuits against them. So I'm really happy that people are really looking at this and taking it seriously because these are our babies and it's really important for their health. And, let's try to reduce their toxin exposure. It's just sad that there's kind of like smoke and mirrors when it comes to these products. So one of the best ways that what you can do is just avoid them in general. Don't trust when it says BPA free. Don't trust these brands. Like you really have to stick to materials that don't have that in them no matter what. So like glass, like I said, glass, stainless steel, baby wipes, you really got to do your due diligence, read the ingredients. I use the Hello Bello ones right now. There's a few different brands, depends where you live, that are great. You can definitely check those out. And if you are in the baby space, you have kids, you have babies, a really awesome Instagram account to follow that talks about this is called Raising Well Kids. And I will link it in the show notes. It actually compares all of the different healthy/green, clean brands. And it will go through the ingredients and rank them from best to worst. Now, it's based in the US. So if you're in Canada, like I am, you have to, take what you can get in terms of what brands you have access to. But it is very, very helpful and explains which ingredients are harmful and why. And so I always, like when I'm buying baby wipes, like I go and look at the posts on baby wipes and I compare, the top 10 different natural baby wipes, water wipes that people are buying and which ones are the best. And it's really helpful. So I really recommend looking into something like that if you are buying these types of products. You can always use a washcloth and just not use baby wipes in general. but obviously they come in handy here and there, depending on what you're doing. Same with diapers. Diapers is a massive one, which we won't get into today, but yeah, lots out there. And before we start, let's do DM of the day. I love this one. This was just really encouraging. So if you have any DMs or if any DMs, if you want to DM me, you can do that. I do DM of the day and I just like celebrate and acknowledge people who send me messages and send me love because I find it very useful. And this person wrote, "Hi, Brittany, I just want to share how much your work has impacted my life. Your insights into functional medicine have helped me address issues that conventional medicine couldn't. It's been a transformative journey, and your guidance has been invaluable. Thank you for everything that you do." And then a bunch of emojis. Thank you so much. I love these little reviews, feedback, whatever it might be, these DMs. They really warm my heart. And if you want to chat, you can send me a message on Instagram. It's kind of where I'm the most active. And I just love connecting with you there. It's like the most authentic space. It's one-on-one. I send voice notes. I've even sent videos before. We can just connect. And I always keep them anonymous as well. Before we start, a shout out to Mimeo. Mimeo is a stack of 4 different ingredients that are all about longevity and aging. Now, these ingredients actually help induce the benefits of a 36-hour fast on the body. So if you're like me and you're not fasting right now, you can get the benefits on a cellular level through the ingredients PEA, OEA, NMN, and spermidine. They work together in tandem, and that's what makes them so strong and effective. So Mimeo is very up and coming in the biohacking space. I've supported them for a long time, or almost a year. And I will continue to support them just because I think they're awesome and I love what they're doing. Longevity is so important to me and cellular health is. And if I can take something that can mimic a fast and help with cellular turnover and autophagy, I'm obviously going to do that. So use my discount code BiohackingBrittany and you will get a discount at checkout and be able to save. And a shout out to Wellness. This is the brand by Katie Wells, who's known as Wellness Mama. She has a bunch of different health and wellness products. I love her toothpastes. I have all of them. Yes, all of them. They're great. And they are fluoride free. They are all natural and they use ingredients that are actually effective though. So it makes your teeth clean, helps whiten them. And I definitely trust her. I trust her. I listen to her podcast and I trust her products. So you can go to wellness.com. That's spelled WELLNESSE. So it's like wellness, but there's an E on the end. And use my discount code BiohackingBrittany and we'll get you 12% off, which is great. So you can get any of the products, but I just love their toothpaste and I really recommend that to everybody. Enjoy this podcast episode. I think you're going to learn a lot about toxicity and about products and how we can kind of build a non-toxic life, especially for our babies. I think that's really important. So enjoy it. My DMs are always open to you and I will catch you soon for another episode. Welcome to Biohacking with Brittany. I am so happy that you are listening today. I am really excited about this episode because we are diving into all things baby health. This is kind of a new area for me, a new frontier. I don't know when this episode will come out. I could still be pregnant. There could be a baby. Regardless, it's really important to me in my life right now and to so many of you listening who are kind of on this holistic health, fertility, pregnancy, postpartum journey with me. So joining me today, I have Sara Walma, who is the CEO of Mason Bottle. She's going to talk about her journey with working for this company that really focuses on non-toxic, eco-friendly baby bottles and why that matters. We're going to dive into baby health in general, some other things that she's done. She's obviously a mother of 3 girls. And so we're going to dive into the story of Mason Bottle and why I just love their products. So Sara, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm thrilled to be here and thrilled to share the story of Mason Bottle and excited to be a part of this.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know right before we started recording, you were saying how you and your husband bought the company and took over the company in 2015. What was it about Mason Bottle at that time that you were like, oh, this is something I really want to get my hands on?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the company started in around 2015 and we purchased the company in December of 2023. So it's relatively new to us. The previous owner obviously had done an amazing job and is an amazing entrepreneur and leader. And she was kind of moving on to her next project. And, my husband and I both have full-time jobs and, we were really well, I guess I can back up even further from that. We've been looking for a long time and thinking about our family legacy, right? And once you have children, you start thinking more and more and more about your family legacy and what does that look like for you and what will your children remember and what can you have them be a part of. And it was very, very important for us that they saw mommy and daddy working, but not only that, but to be a part of it and to be a part of it and to be, to take it to the next level and see the impact that it can make for people. And so whenever we talk about work with them, we talk about it in the context of helping people, whether you're helping a person, you're helping the planet, but it's extremely important to us. And so we've been looking for a long time and thinking about, with our values, which are, to make sure that we are healthy and we're doing things that can help make the planet healthier. And so when we saw Mason Bottle, it kind of checked all the boxes for us. It, is right up our alley from being a healthy and sustainable, trying to eliminate single-use plastics product, starting families early on their plastic-free journey. And then, of course, making the planet a healthier place, which was equally important to us. We have been involved in a coastal community and we can see the direct impacts of plastic. And so we are trying to teach our children about those consequences of plastic around the coast. And so it just checked all the boxes. Like when we saw it and so we said, you know what, we should learn more about this and we should do it. And it's been amazing. And the feedback and the outreach has been amazing.
Yeah, I love that. So for those people who don't know your products, can you just briefly describe what exactly Mason Bottle is and sells so they can get a better idea?
Exactly. Yeah. So Mason Bottle is a brand of baby bottles and other products that are sustainable, eco-friendly, versatile, and they are the basis is the mason jar, right? That our grandmothers and their grandmothers used for the last 150 years, and with all connecting nipples and rings and lids so that they can grow with you throughout your journey. So let's say you start with the breast milk collection jars, you store your breast milk, collect your breast milk. Well, those can grow with you and turn into bottles. Those can then grow with you and turn into snack cups for your kiddos, Lego collections, whatever, as your family grows. And that's the idea, is that it's very versatile and you're not just using single-use products and eliminating them when you're done with them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I actually found your company because I went down a deep dive of how do I have glass bottles because I didn't want to use plastic? How do I store breast milk in the freezer? I didn't want to use these plastic single-use bags that everybody uses. So it took me forever. Honestly, it took me quite a while to find a good solution. And I was confused and I was like, okay, how do I do this? And then I found your site and I reached out to you guys and I was like, I think this is the solution. I think this makes sense. So the little mason jars mason jars, mason bottles, you guys have the right sizes for what I would want to use for breast milk. And then obviously the really great thing is that you have these lids or cups I guess they're lids that go on top that are actually the nipples so that you can actually just feed your baby right from that jar. So you don't have to actually transfer it to a separate bottle that you would then give the baby. So it makes it so easy and you can just buy it in one full kit.
Exactly. I mean, the goal is to be 100% reusable, 100% repurposable, and eliminate single-use plastics.
Yeah, exactly. And then when I got your products, I was looking at this, I was like, this is going to be great. This could go into a school lunch kit in the future. You know what I mean? It's this idea of how do we make a product that lasts longer and can be used in different ways during different life stages.
Exactly. And that's funny you say that because I use them in our girls' lunches all the time. And when I first started sending them, I actually got a little pushback from the schools about, sending glass. And I'm like, there's a silicone sleeve on the outside, and I'm just not going to send a Ziploc bag. I'm just not one of those moms. And that's what you're going to have to deal with, so to speak. And it's funny, the more and more they carry them to school, the more people start asking, like, oh, what are those? What are those? And people reaching out and saying, oh, I would love to do that. I want to send my kids hummus in their school lunch. And what a great idea to put hummus in here with veggies or almonds and things.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. So when your girls were really young, what was it like for you with the whole bottle feeding? Did you bottle feed? Were there great options for you? Like, what did you do?
Great question. So I breastfed all the girls. I was working full time and traveling. So I was pumping in airports and, everywhere, which is a whole nother challenge. And I did not discover glass until about 3 years ago. And so unfortunately, I wish I could say that I used glass for all my girls, but I didn't. And how I discovered it is I had some routine blood work done, and they're like, came back and it was, well, hey, you have an autoimmune disease. And I was like, what? How is this possible? How is this happening to me? All the things. And you start doing all the research and really diving into it. And one of the things that kept coming up was to avoid plastic. And like you said, you go down this deep dive and the information that turns up is so shocking. So, and it does have a big impact on your health. And the fact that they're seeing microplastics in fetus and blood clots and, all sorts of places, it just makes you really, reinforce that, there are better solutions for your family and for the earth. And glass, because it's inert, there's no chemical reaction happening, right? Between whatever you put in it, whether it's liquid gold, breast milk, or, food for your kids' lunches in 10 years. And so you just have that feeling that you're doing the best you can for your family. And it's not hard. Some people think to go plastic free or to try to eliminate plastics from their life is difficult, but it's not at all, right? You found a solution, I found a solution, and you just stick with it.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I think there's a lot of health implications with plastic that a lot of people kind of overlook or are unaware of. And now what I'm finding, and I'm sure you're finding the same thing, is so many things are labeled like BPA free. And so then you think, oh, I'm using this plastic that's BPA free, so it must be okay and it must be fine. But in reality, they've actually replaced the BPA with BPS or BPB, which is like actually way more toxic to the human body than BPA in the first place. And there's like not a lot of discussion around that yet because it's just too new and no one's really talking about it yet. And so it's even I get like when I buy something or I'm looking at something on a shelf, I'm like, oh, this doesn't have BPA in it. And I have to remind myself of like, this is just greenwashing. They're just trying to like just replacing the chemical. It's still plastic at the end of the day.
Yeah. And it's, like you said, until you do that deep dive, you don't really appreciate all of the chemicals in plastic and all the different types of plastic. And what's crazy and really eye-opening is that, plastic was really never intended to be used for food storage, right? It's kind of a byproduct of coal and petroleum and, and it was driven to use during, the industrial era and World War II because we needed parachutes and we needed helmets and nylon was created and and then it just kind of morphed into something that we use every single day. But being a part of Mason Bottle really has, and kind of getting the diagnosis of having an autoimmune disorder kind of really opened your eyes to what's in things. And it really had me looking at ingredients and materials in a much deeper way than I ever had before. Our firstborn, she had this really weird reaction one time, and it was like a couple days before Christmas, and she was 3 months old, and we took off her diaper, and her diaper was filled with blood. And of course, as new parents, we, rushed to the emergency room and called friends and got feedback. And what they ended up saying is that, even at 3 months, the infant gut is just so immature, it can't handle large doses of anything, right? They're the most vulnerable population. And so I kind of always go back to that. Like, if we can provide a solution for expecting mothers and young families for that vulnerable population and start their journey early, I pray that they can have, a healthier experience than even my girls had.
Let's talk about Mimeo, a breakthrough longevity supplement that hacks your biology to help you look and feel younger. It was created by PhDs in nutrition from over 7 years of clinical research, and Mimeo was designed to mimic the longevity benefits of fasting in a simple daily pill. Not only has Mimeo been shown to extend lifespan in animals by 96%, but users have been able to take as much as 2.5 years off their biological age in just 8 weeks. How? Mimeo's groundbreaking biomimetic formula uses a patented blend of all natural metabolites that work together to help your cellular health from the inside out. First, there's OEA, which is a metabolic supercharger clinically proven to help control appetite and promote fat metabolism, so you can crush those cravings and silence food noise throughout the day. Then there's spermidine, the cellular autophagy activator, helping clear out cellular junk to boost cognition, clear brain fog, and refresh your cells. Next, there's nicotinamide, a broad-spectrum NAD+ booster that's been shown to improve everything from metabolism to skin glow to immune health. And lastly, there's PEA, one of the body's most powerful rest and repair molecules that helps control inflammation, relieve discomfort, and enhance recovery so you can get that youthful energy back. Mimeo is designed to work like a super fast, super efficient fasting diet, but without actually having to fast. It's all about tapping into the power of your own biology, giving your body the cheat code to work its best, making you feel younger and healthier today. You can try Mimeo today. Use my discount code at checkout, which is biohackingbrittany, and you can get all of these benefits in a simple supplement today. Again, that's biohackingbrittany in all capitals. So definitely try it and let me know what you think. Yeah. And it's all about like setting the example for the future generations and helping them to be healthier from the get-go. A lot of people, I was just talking about this the other day, like they'll say, "Oh, we didn't have that when I was young. We didn't need that. And we turned out just fine." This kind of that narrative of you're kind of doing too much. Like, why are you trying so hard? Why do you care? Like that type of thing. But in reality, our world is so much more toxic now than it has ever been before. The statistics are like pretty alarming about how many thousands and thousands of toxins are found in even babies as newborns, in the umbilical cord. And so when we live in such a toxic world, like we actually do need to think about how do we reduce that burden? How do we, even taking out something like plastic, even just with bottles, like that's a small, small step, but it actually makes a difference. Like you're reducing the toxin burden of that person who's being exposed to that. And so it actually does matter. And then like you're talking about, like even the health implications of how does this affect autoimmune disease? How does this affect hormones, fertility? That was my big thing. Like last year, I spent a lot of time before I was pregnant thinking about, okay, like where are the sources in my home that are likely adding more toxins to me that it's worth? So I started to replace things slowly over time. Like my pans, I went from nonstick, I, donated them, and I bought like cast iron pans. Just like a little swap like that makes a big difference. So you don't have to do it all at once, but you can kind of choose where you want to start.
Exactly. And, you know, it took me and getting that diagnosis to really start that deep dive. And I wish I would have started earlier. because I mean, it's simple to make everyday changes, and they're just little changes. Like you said, it could be a pan, or, we've kind of, be, because of all this discussion in our household now, we'll go out to dinner and the waitress will come and they kind of set straws on the end of the table. And my girls, their eyes will get real big and they'll look up at me and they'll know, like, don't open that straw. You can't use that straw. But it's starting them young too, and just seeing the impact that they can make, little changes that they can make.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love that. So for those, pregnant women listening or new parents listening, and they're like, oh my gosh, I already have so much on my plate. Like now I'm supposed to just like make my home like completely organic and green. Like this is way too much. It's way too crunchy, as people say now. Where would you recommend people start? Like what advice do you give when you start to educate people, maybe at like school pickup or something, and they want to get on board, but it kind of just feels a bit overwhelming?
Just start simple. Start with something very simple and small, and grow from there. Whether it's, eliminating straws while you're at a restaurant, or throwing away the Tupperware that your mother has had for 35 years and has been flaking into your food for the last 32 of those 35 years. So just baby steps. And with the glass bottle, with the mason jar, there's so many people that are familiar with, oh, my grandmother, used mason jars for canning. And, I grew up and so and so had a mason jar. And so I think there's something very familiar and comforting about the mason jar, and using it as a bottle. I mean, it's super easy to clean with that wide mouth on it. And it's been around for 150 years, and it's a tried and true safe material and product. And so I think, just giving them that sense of security that it's a little change, but it can make a big difference. And then they can use those same jars for the next 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and in a million different ways, and just the versatility of the mason jar.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's definitely something that's really nice and familiar and comforting with them. Like even when I was opening them, I mean, obviously we have mason jars in the house, and it's almost like the threshold to start using them is actually easier because you know what the jar is. You know how to unscrew the cap. You know how wide it's going to be. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's just something that's familiar, but now you're just swapping it for using it with a baby, or now you're using it with your kids and their lunches or whatever it might be. So I think it's really smart. And honestly, the idea of just taking mason jar and then applying it to breastfeeding and having these jars that can go in the freezer that you can then warm up is such a smart idea and such a simple transition that I just love that, you're a part of that journey now. Like I just love the idea in general. For the glass itself, like I actually don't know a lot about quality of glass and like the type of glass. Are there different types of glass, and like, is one healthier than the other?
So there are different types of glass, and the mason bottles are not canning glasses. And so we're a borosilicate, and it is probably 90% of all the glass on the market today. And the canning glass is a little bit heavier, right? And so that's obviously not something you want with a baby bottle and or trying to pump into. So that's what we choose and use. And I think that's probably the majority of what you would see on the market today.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. Just because of like how you use it and how you store it and everything like that. And then when you were choosing like the nipples, like the nipple covers, what were the materials that you were looking for there? And like, what was your criteria?
Yeah, so the criteria was to make sure that plastic never touches the contents of the feeding, right? Whether it touches the baby or touches the contents of what's in your bottle. And so we use a silicone that's made in the United States, and it's manufactured in the United States, and, has all of the free from toxic materials and is tested. And so we have different durometers of silicone. And so if you start with like a preemie or maybe an infant that has latching trouble or swallowing and breathing simultaneously trouble, we have a very soft durometer of silicone nipple. And I would say that was probably more for your preemies. It also has a very slow flow because, with the little babies and the preemies, they're just trying to learn how to drink and swallow and breathe all at the same time. And then we move up the age group from there. So we have then a slow flow nipple, which it's a harder durometer. So it's not as soft as the soft one, but it still has that slow flow for young babies, like up to 3 months, give or take. And then a medium flow and a standard flow. And so as your baby ages, it will be able to accept and drink more fluid at a time, just as they would do off the breast. And so our silicone kind of grows with the baby.
Yeah. No, that's so smart. I love that. Yeah. And I love that you have different options. With the silicone, does it what is silicone actually made out of? And I don't know if you actually know the answer to that because I see silicone like everywhere. A lot of baby stuff is made out of silicone actually. And I know it's safer than plastic, but I'm curious, what makes it safer?
Yeah. So silicone is, if you look at its like original chemistry, and I am not a paid chemist here. So, it is a silicate, which is a natural occurring material, and then it's hardened and it becomes silicone. So you can heat it, you can under pressure, and it's just the silica naturally occurring form in the environment. So it's
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I was gonna say it was something like that. Just hearing you explain that actually makes a lot of sense. Like silica, as in the mineral, is then hardened, and then it's like you can make different things out of it. And I am happy that I'm seeing it in different places now, especially in the baby world, because like I said, like the plastic is still kind of everywhere, and it's nice to see us slowly moving to like plastic and silicone and things like that. For the next few years, how do you think the baby industry is going to change? Like, do you think it's going to become more eco-friendly and sustainable? Or do you think we're kind of like, I don't know, maybe at the peak of how much it's going to get there?
no, great question. I do think that it is. And I think, 60% of the baby bottle market is still plastic bottles. And of those, I know it's painful, isn't it? And of those, the leader in that category is a BPA free plastic. But like you mentioned before, it could also be loaded with, a handful of other plastics. And then the glass bottle market is growing, but it still only represents about 10% of the overall baby bottle market. But because of the health effects that seem to be coming more mainstream, it's becoming more popular for everyone to know about microplastics and where they come from and the harmful effects, and more scientific papers coming out to support the dangers or the, watch outs for microplastics. I think it's going to change the baby bottle market dramatically, because if there's ever a population of people that are most vulnerable and mamas that want to do the best for their babies, you start young, right? You want to give them the purest thing that you could possibly find, starting with your breast milk and storing your breast milk in the safest way and throughout their food journey.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. And it's pretty crazy. Like only 10% of the market is glass bottles. I would have thought it would have been more than that, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, we just left a baby show recently, like one of the big like national baby shows, and we were actually surprised to see that there weren't a lot of alternatives out there. And so one thing that we are doing also is that we are working on a stainless steel bottle that will mimic and fit all of our glass bottles, because we do find that some daycares and some schools are very adamant about not having the glass. And we want to be able to offer solutions for those mamas that don't want plastic. And so we're working on that now, and it'll be interchangeable with all of our nipples, all of our rings, all of our lids. So same thing. So they can move up with you and grow with your family, whether you're using it for breast milk today or storage, maybe you grow into food storage and other things.
If you're feeling out of sync with your hormones or struggling with fertility, I totally get it. I've been there and it can be so frustrating, but I found a delicious way to support your reproductive health. I have developed hormone balancing, fertility boosting chocolate. This isn't just any type of chocolate. It's packed with adaptogens like maca root and antioxidants from cacao and pomegranate. These ingredients can help regulate your hormones and support your preconception health and fertility. You need to download this recipe ASAP, okay? Because it's more than just a treat. It's a powerful way to nourish your body from the inside out. Imagine indulging in a rich, delicious chocolate that not only satisfies your sweet tooth, but also boosts your wellness. Whether you're trying to conceive, balance your hormones, or just crave a healthy indulgence that you get to make from home, where you get to control all of the ingredients and also optimize your health, this recipe is perfect for you. Don't miss out on this tasty, fertility enhancing, optimizing health solution. You can go to biohackingbrittany.com/pages/fertility-chocolate and download the recipe for free right now. Go for it. It's just right there waiting for you. It's linked in my show notes. It's linked on my website. You're going to find it super, super easy. So treat yourself to better health, one delicious bite at a time. Yeah, I love that. I was going to ask about that because metal is like arguably one of the better materials to use. It's in my mind, it's kind of like glass, ceramic, and metal. If I'm going to buy something, those are the three that I kind of stick to. Ceramic probably doesn't make sense for a baby bottle. You might as well just use glass at that point. And then you can see through it as well. But metal is very interesting. And what type of metal would it be made out of? Would it be a stainless steel type of situation?
It is, yeah. So that's what we're looking at now. And it's a medical grade, all healthy and tested for all the toxic materials and everything. And then we're kind of looking at, so, you start using these small jars or stainless containers with breast milk, bottles, and we're looking at making baby food maker that you can then use all of these storage jars for. So it's just another area for you to repurpose a product that you already have in your home and is safe and reliable. So that's a little preview.
I actually love that because I was doing research on baby food makers for my registry and like just looking at different things. And again, I was like, okay, I don't want anything with plastic. So now I'm limited to these like 2 brands, whatever it might be. And then I just like read the reviews and the reviews aren't that great. And I'm like, oh, I don't know what to use. So if you can create something that's like glass,
yes. Well, I will tell you, it is glass. So it is not plastic.
Nice. I love that. Is that something that is coming like this year, or is it like a few years in development?
We are hoping later this year. So we have a prototype in our hands now, and we just have to make sure it meets our, quality and all of our expectations, and that it's simple to use and it kind of fits with the brand, and that, you want to be able to put healthy organic fruits and vegetables in it and cook for your babies and toddlers and kids, and just to make sure it checks all those boxes. But yeah, hopefully by the end of the year. So more to come there.
Yeah. Will it steam the food as well? Or is it just going to like chop it and blend it?
It'll
cool.
Yes. And not another spoil alert, but it may even work as like a baby bottle warmer.
Ooh.
So kind of a 3-in-1.
Cool. Okay. So I think
Yeah. which we're always trying to think at Mason Bottle. We're always trying to think of ways like, all right, how do we repurpose this? Like if it can't be repurposed, we don't want it on our, we don't want it in our brand. We don't want it in our family. And so we always are thinking, okay, well, if it can do this, can it do X, Y, and Z along with that?
Nice. I love that. Okay. So I'm going to take the one that's currently on my registry off because I actually won't need one until like December anyway, like 6 months from July. So ish. Ish. So I'll wait for yours because I definitely think it would be better. And I'm so curious to see what that's going to look like. Do you have any other like future products that you're like, oh, I really want to like tap into this part of the market?
Yes. So kind of keeping online or in line with the food storage or mason jar, packing, being a mama of three and packing their school lunches every day is one, to pack them healthy ingredients and then have them be delivered to the kiddo by lunchtime, that it's still, you put watermelon in something and it's, the juice is everywhere. And so we're working on a bento box that will accept, like a silicone bento box that will accept one of our 4-ounce glass storage jars. So that could be it could be your watery food, your liquidy food. It could be hummus. It could be salad dressing, any number of things. But it all, again, incorporates kind of the core of who we are, which is the mason bottle, but then gets upcycled yet again for another function, another use.
I love that.
Yeah. So, and then we just launched some silicone spoons and sip and snack cups, just again, to kind of grow with our families, as some of them start to age out of the breast milk phase, we want to be able to provide solutions for them. And so we're really looking at our product roadmap, and trying to fulfill that with unmet, things that are unmet in the market today, and where we can fill gaps that are both healthy, sustainable for the family and for the earth.
Yeah, I love that. And it makes sense to kind of just grow with baby and provide solutions at every age. What are some of the common like misconceptions that you face in your company when you're, at these baby shows and you're talking to customers? Like what's something that maybe you have to educate people a lot about that they might not necessarily just understand?
I think the one is the glass. I think sometimes you just assume or think that, I wouldn't want to put glass by my baby, but it's actually kind of the opposite with the silicone sleeve. It's very safe. And then the other thing is, a lot of mamas are so used to the plastic breast milk storage, the plastic little, rectangles that from competitors out there, that the thought of storing in glass, they're like, "Oh, how do I do that? I'm not familiar with that." And so we recommend that all mamas follow all CDC guidelines for breast milk storage, for thawing, for, for everything. And it's not any different for glass than it is for plastic. And so it's just, I think, giving them that confidence, being a new mother, that, whether you're pumping into glass or plastic, you can still store it the same. You can thaw it the same. You can heat it the same, but without all the microplastics being leached into your liquid gold. So I think the more education and the awareness, again, that comes out about the dangers and caution around microplastics, I think more mamas will be moving in this direction.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think that is a common fear, like the glass, giving kids glass, like, oh no, what if it breaks? But you have like you said, you have the silicone covers that there's the easy solution, easy to wash. Yeah. Everything can go in a dishwasher. Like, you know what I mean? It's not adding more work, but yeah, as well as like the defrosting, I guess, or warming up of the milk as well. And I remember actually talking to your team on Instagram about this, like, and I think it's just because I haven't had my baby yet that I don't know the numbers, but yeah. I need to like print out that little like chart of, okay, coming out of the freezer, it can be thawed in the fridge for this many days. And I don't even know it right now. And then thawed on the counter this many days. Cause like in my head, I'm like, oh, I don't want the milk to go bad. And like, it's, it's complicated, but I think it's complicated because I haven't done it. That's what I think.
No, you're exactly right. But what's funny is I had that same printout on my fridge because it gives you that confidence, right? And I had little same exact like CDC. There's like infographic on the CDC website about breast milk storage and thawing. And I had it printed on my refrigerator as well. So you are not alone.
Yeah. 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 It's like, what little tips and hacks can I just do to make life easier? It's just, yeah, it's very interesting. But I'm glad to hear that it's actually the same as the storage of the little pouches, because again, like it's an easy swap that people can do. There's no kind of like new habits, I guess, that they would really need to form.
Not at all. Yeah. And that's why, you know, making these healthy and sustainable decisions, they're not hard. They seem hard, right? When you kind of sit back and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to get rid of all my plastic cups and all my Tupperware and all. But once you transition to glass or whatever material, you kind of like, why did it take me so long to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I also wonder, and like, I don't know if you've ever done this, but I wonder if you or someone has ever done like a cost analysis on it too. Like, if you buy one of your glass bottles and it is used X amount of times for milk, how many bags does that equal? And how much did those bags cost that are like, that you're just throwing away single use plastic? Do you know what I mean? Because I wonder if people are ever like, oh, I don't want to spend the money on glass. But actually, when you break it down, it's like way more sustainable long term to actually just buy the glass.
Yeah, that's a great idea. So we've never done the cost analysis in that sense, but we've done it on the impact on the earth, right? And so, of all of the plastic in the ocean, I remember looking this up at one point, like the plastic that they use in baby bottles, the polypropylene, does not decompose, right? And so after you're done with your bottle, it ends up in a landfill or elsewhere. And of all the plastic in the ocean, I think I want to say like 9 or 12% was baby bottles, which is heartbreaking. And so it was like baby bottles and medical supplies or something. And so we've looked at, with adding a silicone spoon, it'll keep 100 disposable spoons out of the landfill. And so we've kind of done some of those earth impact analysis, but I get your point on it's a great recommendation to do on the cost analysis as well.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think that's so interesting. And it's really sad when you kind of like hear the statistics like that. I did the same thing when I was looking into diapers of like, okay, what is the healthiest choice here? What is the most eco-friendly choice? And when you look at cloth diapers versus disposable diapers, it's jarring. It's absolutely jarring, the statistics out there on it. And I was listening to this one podcast on it, and these hosts were saying that the disposable diapers, they don't degrade. So every single diaper that has ever existed is still out there in the world today. And I was like, oh my goodness. Like, so the diapers that I wore as a kid, that you wore as a kid are somewhere there, like in the ocean, in the forest. I don't know where they are, in the landfill. And then I think about having a kid, and I think it's something also crazy. Like in the first 2 years, if you use disposable diapers, I think it's like you can use up to 4,000 diapers. And then you're just putting those into the environment. Like, there you go. That's my contribution. And they're going to be there for the rest of time. Like, what?
Yep. It's super important to us that we are making smart decisions for families and for the environment. We go in great lengths about our packaging and to make sure that it's recyclable, paper, not plastic, and cardboard, not plastic. And, we're working on a gift box so that, imagine you're at your baby shower, you get this beautiful gift box, but then we also have to stop ourselves and say, well, what are you going to do with that gift box? Are you going to reuse that gift box, or is that gift box going in the trash? Like, let's be smart about what we provide. Let's find another purpose for it, or so we're constantly trying to remind ourselves and do a check. Like, is it good for the family? Is it good for the environment? Is it good for the overall health of everyone?
Yeah, I love that. And arguably, like, a lot of the time when something is healthier for you, it is also healthier for the environment. Maybe not 100% of the time, but a lot of the time it is. Especially when we're talking about like consumer products, of choosing more natural materials that aren't, going to cause more waste and byproducts or more fumes or more like whatever it might be. So it it really does go hand in hand. Like the environment and your health really do go hand in hand in many, many ways that I've seen.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. And that's kind of what started you on your journey, isn't it? Kind of diving in and really doing the research, and how biohacking with Brittany kind of came about.
Yeah. Yeah. I had, different health issues and I kind of had to just figure it out on my own a little bit. And then when I started looking at fertility was like really, really actually when I started swapping my products and taking it very seriously and doing the research and understanding, okay, like this is an endocrine disruptor. Like I can't just use all of this plastic all of the time, or even like personal care products as well. So I started that quite a long time ago, but swapping my shampoos for something that's all natural and not filled with like sulfates and all of these different things that can impact your health. And then it went to like makeup and, it kind of like is like a process. But the recommendation that I typically give people is, use up what you have right now. And then the next time you go to buy, make a smarter, more informed decision. You don't have to like do 100% full 360 overhaul of your entire house because that's expensive and that's a lot of work. But it's just like when that product runs out, okay, let's actually look at what is a better decision now.
Exactly. And it's also, along those same lines, you know, we grew up with, you were thrifty. And so it's like your cousin handed down their clothes to you, and you wore, someone's bathing suit that, your sister's or your cousin's bathing suit, or, my mom still uses a brown paper shopping bag when she mails a package, and she'll cut it out and, mail it. And so I think it's those little things, right? And whether it's repurposing or just finding a new use for something instead of being in this constant disposable society that we're living in today.
Toothpaste. We all need it and use it daily. But have you ever read the ingredients of your toothpaste or noticed the FDA poison warning on there? If not, keep on listening for some surprising information that your dentist might not be sharing with you. Fluoride has long been a common ingredient in many commercial toothpastes, hailed for its ability to prevent cavities. However, recent studies have raised concerns about the potential health risks associated with fluoride exposure. These risks include thyroid dysfunction, dental fluorosis, skeletal fluorosis, and potential neurotoxicity. Given these concerns, wellness offers a safer alternative that doesn't compromise our health, yet remains effective. Why choose wellness toothpaste? It is founded by wellness mama Katie Wells, and wellness is dedicated to natural health and uses hydroxyapatite instead of fluoride, a game changer in oral care. Here's why it is a better choice. It's fluoride free, eliminating all the health risks that I just talked about. The natural hydroxyapatite formula strengthens enamel and whitens your teeth. Plus, it's crafted from natural ingredients, gentle on gums, and eco-friendly. I love it. I use it all the time. I love the taste of it. And I don't think I will switch to anything else. So make the switch for yourself today to Wellness Toothpaste. Visit wellness.com and use code biohackingbrittany for 12% off your order. That's wellness spelled WELLNESSE.com. Safeguard your health with wellness because your smile deserves the best. Yeah. And it's like the consumerism as well, right? And like capitalism too. And then you have something like Amazon comes out that now has like next day shipping, same day shipping, 2-day shipping, whatever it is. And it's just on your phone and you're buying. And when you see what all of that is delivered in, it's like plastic. And it's all just like cheap products at such a low rate. And now the consumerism is just through the window versus exactly what you're saying of how do we pass down things? How do we thrift? We don't actually need to always buy new. But now I think we're in a society where everyone's kind of like used to buying new.
Yeah, with a lot of products being so cheaply made and plastic being so cheap that it's easy for that to happen for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So if people want to connect with you and they're like, okay, I need to try these Mason bottles, where can they go and how can they do that?
Yes, you can find us on social, on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok. You can obviously come straight to our website, which is masonbottle.com. You can reach out through customer care. And if you have any questions, we have an amazing team of 4 women that manage operations and marketing and customer care. And they'll get right back in touch with you and just help you with your journey, wherever you are starting in your journey, whether it's early on with breast milk storage, or maybe you're already transitioning to finding uses for your toddler or even older kids like I am.
Awesome. I will link that in the show notes and website so everyone can find you easily. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. I'm so excited to use your products very soon. And I will definitely be posting about them on social media as well.
Yes. Good luck with your birth. I'm super excited for you and sending you lots of positive vibes, and it's life-changing, and it's absolutely wonderful, and you're going to do awesome. You are super prepared. Like, of all the mamas that I've ever talked to and all my girlfriends, you are prepared, girl. You have this, you're going to rock it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that means a lot. I will definitely do a podcast episode on my birth, no matter what, no matter how it goes. We're planning a home birth, and I hope it works and goes well. So, but regardless, I will share because I think it's important to share about it.
That is awesome. The only last piece of advice I will give you is being a mama of 3 and having, you have your birth plan and then life happens, and just being okay with it. The gift and the miracle of childbirth is going to happen, and just be okay with it. If things have to pivot or change, like, be at peace with that. You can have a plan, which is fantastic, but just really be at peace with that. That baby wanted to come into the world this way.
Aw, I love that.
And that kind of makes them who they are, honestly. So they come into their world in their own unique way, and every way is special. If it followed your plan to a T or not.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. Just like the grace that you can give yourself is a lesson in itself, really. And I'm sure I will look back on it. Yeah, I'm trying to not view it as a plan. I'm trying to view it more as like not a guideline, but like maybe a rough draft or something, So a little less pressure on me.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. And thank you for the time. This was great.
Yes. Thank you so much too.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Biohacking with Brittany. If you're interested in finding the show notes or the sponsors for this episode, you can do so on my website, which is biohackingbrittany.com. Remember to follow me on Instagram, where I'm most active. My handle is @biohackingbrittany. And if you're interested in working together and you want to email me directly, you can do that. My email is info@biohackingbrittany.com. And I look forward to hearing from you and having you tune in next week.